are you labeling yourself? Hey guys, welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, May 31st. This is episode 31 of Fearless Fridays, and I thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everyone who shares, likes, comments, all of that stuff. I really appreciate it. So listen, something that I have been thinking about, something that's I've kind of been mulling over is the idea of labels. How we label ourselves, how we allow other people to label us, how we allow our experiences to label us. And I think there are many different ways that we label ourselves according to our job or our career, according to where we come from, according to zodiac sign, according to similar trauma that we've been through, or according to illness or sickness. There's so many different ways, so many different labels that we can put on ourselves or allow others to put on us. And I think it's so important that we think of this because the way we label ourselves oftentimes becomes the way we define ourselves. It becomes the thing that kind of governs how we live our lives. And I think it's very natural. It's human nature to want to find people who have been through similar things, people who are similar to you in some way, whether you have the same career or the same hobbies or whatever. It's natural to want to seek out people who are similar to you in that way and kind of find community in that way. And I think that's perfectly normal. But I also think that labeling can be very dangerous because a lot of times we label ourselves according to things we've been through, according to trauma that we've been through, and we start to live our lives according to that trauma or according to that label or that definition. We begin to define ourselves according to that label or according to that trauma. You know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and a lot of us have dealt with depression. A lot of people have dealt with anxiety. A lot of us have dealt with some sort of negative mental health. And we kind of live in a society that I think right now we are embracing knowing about mental health, which I think is a very good thing. But I also think that it's in some way we are kind of making ourselves live according to the negative aspect of our mental health, whether it be depression, whether it be anxiety, whether it be suicidal thoughts or anything like that. And I think that's where labeling can be very dangerous when we start to say, well, I have anxiety, so that means this. Or I have depression, I'm depressed, so that means I live like this. And rather than taking on that label and living our lives out of that label and defining ourselves according to that label, I think we definitely have the power to say, yes, this is something that I deal with. This is an experience that I've been through, but I'm going to live above the label. I'm going to live above that negative definition for myself. There are a lot of people who live their lives according to zodiac, and I don't get into that, and this might step on some toes, but I think it's a problem when people say, well, I'm a Libra, so that means or I'm a Taurus, so that means automatically, because of your zodiac sign, you've taken on all these attributes and all these traits without even determining whether those things are actually you or whether you want those things to be you, whether you want those things to be your trait. And that's, again, where I think it can be dangerous when we start defining ourselves according to certain labels and living our lives, taking on certain characteristics and certain character traits based on those labels. Listen, I truly believe that you have the power to live above your label. You have a power to define yourself according to who you say you are, who you believe you are, who God says you are. I think you have the power to live and govern your life according to that, rather than living your life according to some label, especially if the label is negative. And when the label is something outside of yourself, like your job, your career, or something like that, what happens when that thing goes away? How are you then labeling yourself? How are you then defining yourself? How are you then living your life? So I think this is important to think about. How are you labeling yourself? How are other people labeling you? What labels are you accepting for yourself? And then How are you allowing those labels to define you? Are you living your life according to that definition? Are you living your life according to that label? Or are you saying, you know what? I can live above the label. I can live my life in a way that's not necessarily in line with a certain label. I can live my life according to the way God wants me to live my life. I can live my life positively with positive thoughts and a positive attitude as opposed to negatively with anxiety and depression. I don't have to live my life according to fear. Fear does not have to be my label. So that's the question I want to ask you today. What labels have you taken on for yourself? What labels have you accepted for yourself? Are you living according to those labels? Are you defining yourself according to those labels? Check and see. And if it's something that's negative, if it's something that's outside of yourself, know that you have the power to change that. You have the power to choose how you live, not a label. A label does not have to define you, it does not have to tell you how you're going to live your life. You have the power to do that for yourself. So that's what I want to share with you today. Check your labels. Check the things other people label you with. Check the things you label yourself with. Check the labels that maybe you didn't even know you had, but you realizing that your behavior is because of a certain label. Check those things and see where you might be able to make some adjustments, some changes for the better, for the positive. So, happy Friday. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that blessed you or encouraged you or again challenged you and made you kind of see something in a new way. It's beautiful today in New York, so I hope it's beautiful wherever you are. Happy Friday. Remember, fear is stupid and all things live, love, go, do, be. Check your labels. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.